listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 23 Personnel Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Brother, I am on break. I had one day to work this week, and I've done that. I've done my time, and that's it. We are on Thanksgiving break over here, which is why we're recording on a Monday. I appreciate you shifting this around.
So nice. I wanted to hear it twice.
You're listening to that was me. Me the whole time. It's been me the whole time, Austin. Okay. How are you?
Good, man. I'm not quite on break yet, but break has commenced. Kids are out of school. In-laws are in town. Shenanigans are afoot.
I love me some Thanksgiving week shenanigans.
Shenanigery. Yeah.
Chicanery?
Chicanery. We're there. We're in it. We're thick in it. We are hosting Thanksgiving, which is never fully done it before. Got the bird. Bird's about to go take a long bath starting tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to dive into this.
Yeah, we'll do the full menu recap or preview predictions at the end. Once we get
over-unders on rolls eaten and or served.
Oh, so many. Well, I could tell you how many we're going to serve. We've already purchased them.
Sticks of butter consumed in various methods of cookery.
I can tell you how many sticks of butter we have in the house. We did a full count, and then we bought some more. Cans of soda, pounds of mashed potatoes, or gallons of gravy. No.
Yes.
No game to recap. So we're gonna look at the games around the Big 12 that were this past weekend. Updates from around the conference. What I really meant to say was country. And then rankings updates. Only give you partial rankings updates because the CFP rankings come out on Tuesday nights. Michael said we're recording on Monday, so we're a day early for that. Go through the Big 12 championship game clinching scenarios. Texas Tech and BYU have the easiest path to clinch a spot in the game, but Utah and Arizona State technically both still alive. And then we'll preview the Dusseldorf Cup, the battle for John Denver's soul. Texas Tech taking on the West Virginia Mountaineers in Morgantown. Look at that matchup. The Big 12 slate of games this weekend. Other notable games. Basketball. Questions. What do we learn? All of that. So, let's hop in. Let's just dive in. Let's dive into football.
Footy football.
And let's do a quick recap from this past weekend because it was just a couple days ago. First up, Kansas at Iowa State. Iowa State was a 4.5-point favorite. Iowa State blew out the Jayhawks 38-14. So more than covered that spread. 38-14 over the Jayhawks. Watched none of this game. We were preparing for hosting duty, so there was a lot of cleaning and running around. TV was on later. I was bouncing around between a lot of games later, so I did not take in this first game. Did you watch any of this game?
No, we had our last two basketball games of the season that morning, followed by a soccer scrimmage because we have the Tournament of Champions.
That's right. It's coming up.
The same weekend as the Big 12 championship game, which may or may not be in conflict. So I did get that scheduled hot off the press. I know people were dying to wonder. So the Queen Bees will be playing. Oh, where will they be playing? I don't know. Frisco-ish. That Saturday, December 6th 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5 p.m., I think.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they have to win. I'm not sure they're guaranteed the third game. No, yeah, they are. It's on the schedule. So I think if they win those 3, then they would be playing on Sunday. But yeah, 3 games on Saturday, the day of the Big 12 championship game. Not a problem.
We'll
Totally cool.
yeah. Baylor at Arizona. Baylor is dead in the water, man. Arizona was a touchdown favorite. Arizona won 41-17.
I think I've seen this, and maybe you even said it. I think I just blanked. I blanked on Baylor's coach's name, Aranda.
Dave Aranda.
I was about to say Matt Rule. I was like, no, I went back in time. I think it's to Rule's advantage that so many Power 5 coaching positions are open. I said Rule again. Aranda's advantage, because you think at this point there might have been a thanks but no thanks. Well, we're going to move on. But I think they recognize where they would fall in the pecking order, and they're just going to go, well, this guy did win 11 games for us a few years ago, so we'll keep it rolling and see how it goes. We'll do it live.
Well, that, and they're having to deal with Mac Rhodes. Whatever's happening there.
Which I don't know what is going on there. But yeah, that's a good point too.
Hey, speaking of Baylor and hiring coaches, did you see that Art Briles was hired today?
I did. That is where my wife graduated from. She was so proud to learn that news. Eastern New Mexico, for those of you who didn't know.
There's not a chance that he comes back to Baylor, right?
Oh, right. Ooh.
Right.
There's a path. What is he, 75?
Yeah, you think if he's got to be Jones just to get back into coaching to take on a D2 school at his age.
Oh, he's 69.
Nice.
There he is. He's just shy of a week from 70. He'll be 70 on the 3rd of December.
Yeah. Still.
So yeah, sure. I mean, people are higher. How old was Belichick?
Old.
He is 73. See?
Wow.
There you go. And then Mac Brown. He was up there. 74. So yeah, I mean, Briles has got a good 3 or 4 years left before he's even going to be questioned if he's too old. That's his only negative as a hire. If I'm an AD, that's the only thing I would be concerned with, right? Just the age factor. Anyway, good luck out there in Portales.
Again, to want to do this job in this era at such a small school, why?
Well, he just love of the game. Love of the game.
Kansas State at Utah. Michael, please tell me you watched some of that. Okay, you did.
I did.
Utah was a 16.5 point favorite. I turned it on. Kansas State was up I can't remember what point it was. I think 14 or 17 points. And they were just doing whatever they wanted to on the ground. Kansas State finished the game with nearly 500 rushing yards. I don't know if I've seen that many rushing yards before. And yet somehow they still lost the game.
I know this was one I actually felt really bad for Matt Wells, because he put up 47 points, or his offense put up 47 points on the road.
Yeah, against the Utah defense.
Mentioned, yeah, almost 500 rushing yards, including 293 by Joe Jackson, their star running back. And they were up 47-35 with 7 minutes left in the game. What do you do there? Well, you don't blame Matt Wells there, I don't think. I think that's this is like he got to channel his inner Cliff Kingsbury and got to experience what that was like, where you're just, dang, 47 points on the road's not enough. Jeez, what are we supposed to do about this?
Yeah,
Being up by 2 scores with 7 minutes left is not enough. Oh, brutal.
now I was flipping around a bunch on channels. So like I have heard that there were a lot of concerns with how the game was officiated there at the end. I have no idea what happened. But when you see that spread, that number of rushing yards, that number of points, Utah, like nothing good came out of that game. You had a head coach break down into tears in the post-game press conference, having to be consoled by his athletic director.
Oh,
Kyle Whittingham throwing his headset on the sidelines to end up winning this game at the end. Like they gave up like a 60-yard touchdown and it cuts them and he just chucks his headset. Like mid-play. He saw it happening. He threw his headset. Yeah, that's wild.
good for Utah. Just really, just good for them.
TCU on the road at Houston. Houston was a 2.5-point favorite, end up losing by 3, 17-14, in front of a very sparse senior day crowd there. Man, good for Willie Fritz. He's got lots of opportunities to go and like check out the landscape. Like, you know what? Houston's not where I want to. Not where I want to retire. As well as they're doing in year one, to have so little fan support, good gravy.
I know. And an in-state, I don't know if you'd want to call it a rivalry because they just haven't played very much, but an in-state team against, I don't know if Houston wasn't ranked this week, but they were the week before.
They're bouncing around, yeah.
Yeah. Had a heck of a season, truly, just compared to what the last couple of years have looked like. And yeah, to have so few people show up. And not an excuse like Stanford, where Stanford just doesn't know they have a football team. I just don't think they're aware. They don't realize that that's part of the college experience is to get to go to a football game sometimes. I think some people were photographing. There were stadium seats last week. Now, they did beat the brakes off of Cal, which we'll get to that, but that's why Cal's looking for a head coach now. But there was a guy that posted a photo of a stadium seat with cobwebs.
Wow. Been empty for so long.
Yeah. Hadn't even been unfolded. Just been sitting there.
Oklahoma State, man, they've been doing weird things the past couple weeks.
They have.
Low scoring. I don't know what's happening, but Oklahoma State at UCF. UCF was a 2-touchdown favorite, 14.5 points. UCF does end up winning the game, but only 17-14. So I don't know if teams are just playing down to Oklahoma State or if they're figuring something out. Because they made it real. I think it was like 14-6 or whatever versus Kansas State the week before.
Mm-hmm.
But UCF hangs on to win this one. They forced an Oklahoma State interception with less than a minute to go. It looked like Zane Flores was back playing quarterback for them, but man, what could have been? Could have gotten your first conference win there. But not to be so. BYU, 2.5-point favorites on the road at Cincinnati. This was where Big Noon kickoff was, 7 p.m. Fox. BYU ends up winning this one 26-14. And it felt closer than that late. I can't remember exactly how the scoring broke out, but I think Cincinnati scored and then BYU responded. Yeah. Anyways, it was not a 12-point game. It was much closer than that. But BYU wins. I think they get through their last kind of test of their season. Let me look at their schedule for this week. Who are they playing this weekend? UCF at home. So Cincinnati was probably their last big challenge. But they get through that. They're at 10-1, 1 game to go. Cincinnati is eliminated from the conference title game. I mentioned earlier, we've got 4 teams left. It's Utah, Arizona State, Texas Tech, and BYU. So Cincinnati needed that one. And then finally, Arizona State at Colorado was close there for a second, but then Colorado fell apart. Arizona State pulled away 42-17 to end that one. Jeff Sims, Hall of Fame. Arizona State Hall of Fame quarterback Jeff Sims.
Yeah. Household name.
Yeah. We talked about the big noon game being BYU at Cincinnati, or Fox College kickoff, whatever they call them, the morning show. Because it was not the big noon game. The game ended up kicking off at 7. But then game day was at USC at Oregon. That actually been that was an entertaining game too. Old Pac-12 matchup that played out really. D1, I'll get back to that in a second. Really fascinating matchup. I enjoyed watching that one was it 2010, 2012-ish era of Oregon when they were on their big run with Chip Kelly and all that. But Oregon ends up winning 42-27. AP voters loved them. They vaulted up ahead of Texas Tech. Now, granted, they were tied for Texas Tech, and Texas Tech did not play this week, so they moved up in the AP poll. I'm not like all bent out of shape about it. We'll see what the college football playoff rankings end up looking like tomorrow night. But yeah, the aforementioned Cal, Michael, they fired their coach this weekend. Justin Wilcox lost 31-10 to a 3-win Stanford team. Did you see the sideline video of the sideline reporter interviewing Andrew Luck?
No.
As like Stanford forced a turnover and he was like jumping up and down and cheering, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, 3-win Stanford takes down Cal, and Cal says, that's enough. We're going to fire our coach, which is interesting move because Cal is going to be at the very bottom, the totem pole here of coaching locations.
Well, I don't know. UAB, they might be competing there.
Well, UAB is not competing for the same pool of guys. But yeah, Arkansas, Auburn, Colorado State, Cal, Florida, LSU, Oklahoma State, Oregon State, Penn State, Stanford, UAB, UCLA, until coaches start getting poached, including Matt Campbell. There's very serious smoke there about him leaving Iowa State.
Oh, please let it happen. It'd be great.
Yeah. All right. AP updates. Texas Tech slid down to 7. I guess you could say, like, they were tied for 6 with Oregon. Oregon played a really competitive and good game and had a good win. So Oregon slides up to 6. Tech falls to 7. BYU remains at 11. Utah dropped a spot from 13 to 14. Cincinnati drops all the way out. They were 22nd, but dropped out. And then Arizona State and Arizona are receiving votes.
Oregon is 5, by the way. They jumped Ole Miss.
Oh, sorry. It says previously they were tied for 6 with Oregon. That's what they were last week.
Yeah.
Oregon's 5.
Yeah, so 5 Oregon, 6 Ole Miss, 7 Texas Tech. So Ole Miss was 5 last week. And Ole Miss and Texas Tech technically both went down a spot because of some classic Big Ten football on CBS this weekend.
Yeah, you dropped because of
which is what I was kind of worried might happen in the CFP. But I think they're going to have cooler heads. I was worried that, this win, I was worried about this and about Oklahoma. And sure enough, I'm looking at Oklahoma's 8 and Texas Tech is 7 in this poll. So we'll see what CFP does. I'm like you. I'm not going to have too much heartburn about this because it doesn't matter anymore. It might factor into some CFP committee people's decision making, but it's just fodder. It's just fun to talk about now.
Yeah, Oregon's not playing for the Big Ten title game, and Ole Miss may sneak their way into the SEC title game. So Texas Tech should have that data point ahead of them.
I've got a data point for you.
Oh, yeah?
So of the hang on a second. So back to Notre Dame. Nobody was yeah, I mean I know, tip of your tongue. That's where you're heading. So Notre Dame has had the privilege of playing the worst team in the Big Ten, the worst team in the SEC, and the 2 worst teams in the ACC. Did you know this? Have you put that together? So they beat Purdue. Purdue is 0-8. Bottom of the Big Ten. Good job. They beat Arkansas. Arkansas is 0-7. Oh no, they're 2-9. 2-9 overall. 0-7 in conference. Have not won a conference game. Very bottom of the 47 team SEC.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, good job. ACC. They have beaten 1-10 Boston College, who is the very bottom of the ACC, and just above them, 3-8 Syracuse. Syracuse has 1 ACC win. And if I had to venture a guess, it might be over Boston College. I don't even know. I don't care. I'm not going to look it up. But that's what's, it's just something to consider. 4 of Notre Dame's big wins are against the 4 worst teams in 3 of the Power 4 conferences. Fantastic. Bringing that up out of nowhere. I knew you were wondering. You were going to ask me about that.
Yeah. Coaches Bowl, very similar. Texas Tech 7, BYU 11, Utah 14, Houston's out. Receiving votes, Arizona, Arizona State, and Houston.
Oh, wait. There's more. Here's the reason I remembered it. Guess who Notre Dame plays this week?
Miami?
Stanford.
Stanford.
The team that was so bad that they got a coach fired because they dared to beat them. So good job, Notre Dame. Way to schedule them. I hope my friend is listening who was talking to me about how weak the Big 12 is, yet he's a Notre Dame fan. Mm-hmm. Brother, I got some news for you. Your best game is a 1-point loss. Okay, yeah. I'm done.
I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. So Ohio State is at Michigan. That one's going to be mildly entertaining to see if Ryan Day can actually beat Michigan. Indiana at Purdue, bloodbath. Texas A&M at Texas.
Oof.
I hate to admit I'm going to be tuning into that one Friday night.
Yeah.
Georgia at Georgia Tech. This one was interesting maybe a couple of weeks ago. Georgia Tech is just...
it's still... I would watch it just based off of what happened last year. I think that's definitely worth tuning in for a little bit.
Oregon at Washington.
Sneaky.
Ole Miss at Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl. Texas Tech at West Virginia. Oklahoma versus LSU. Notre Dame at Stanford. Alabama at Auburn. Iron Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
BYU versus UCF. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. Miami at Pittsburgh. Utah at Kansas. There's Michigan, Texas, Virginia, Virginia Tech. Tennessee, USC, UCLA, James Madison, Coastal Carolina, North Texas, Temple, fighting for the highest ranked group of 5 or group of 6, whatever they call themselves. Tulane is there at 22. So they got 20, 21, and 22. Tulane's got Charlotte, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Miami, and then SMU, California. Cal. All right. We mentioned earlier Arizona State, BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah they all have a shot at clinching a berth in the 2025 Edward Jones Big 12 Football Championship. Of those 4 teams, only 2 are a win and in scenario. BYU and Texas Tech. That's all they have to do. If they win their game, doesn't matter what anybody else does, they are in. So BYU can clinch with a win over UCF. Or if Arizona State loses. So technically BYU can make it in before their game. I don't even remember the schedule. We talked about the schedule yet? No.
Not yet. That'll be later. But Arizona State plays. Dang it, I had it here. Arizona.
They play Friday
which
night.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
they host Arizona.
If Arizona wins, which is a distinct possibility, they're good. They're better this year. BYU could have their spot locked up on Friday night. Technically, same thing for Texas Tech. If Arizona State loses on Friday, both BYU and Texas Tech are in without even having to play their game on Saturday. But BYU wins over UCF or Arizona State loses. However, if BYU were to lose, they would also need Texas Tech to lose to West Virginia, Arizona State to win, and Utah to win, and they would still get in. So BYU lost to UCF, then they would need Texas Tech to lose, Arizona State to win, and Utah to win. They probably won't get to that, but Texas Tech clinches with a win over West Virginia or an Arizona State loss. It's pretty clear. No other scenario because of the head-to-head with BYU and Arizona State. Sorry, with the other head-to-head matchups you may have. Utah could clinch with a win over Kansas, which is likely, I would say. But they would also need Texas Tech to lose, Arizona State to win, and BYU to win. So of all the long, multiple game parlays needed, that one's probably the most likely. But still considering that Texas Tech has to lose on the road to West Virginia for that to even come into play. Arizona could make it. Theirs is messy. Arizona clinches with they have to win, obviously, versus Arizona on Friday. But they need Texas Tech to lose, Utah to lose, and BYU to win. Or they need BYU to lose, Utah to lose. Or Texas Tech to lose, BYU to lose, and Utah to win. So they need one of BYU or Utah to lose, or both, but one of those two to lose, and then probably a Texas Tech loss as well. So again, of all the scenarios at multiple games, all of those, at least in my mind, are less likely to happen than Utah's 1, 2, 3, 4 game. Most likely, BYU and Texas Tech win. But even then, Arizona State losing on Friday could make this all moot.
Well, Arizona State has not cooperated because last week they needed to lose for a lot of these scenarios to start, and
they needed to win against Colorado, though, or they need to lose to Colorado.
I know, but they've got a backup quarterback and a really, really outside chance to make the Big 12 championship. They should just fold it up. Just wrap it up. Wrap up the season. Good job, guys. Had a good run. Your head coach is heading to Baton Rouge or something. I don't even know, but it was a good run.
Starting quarterbacks probably heading to Lubbock.
Yeah.
I
Or
don't know. I don't even know if we
Portales.
want him.
Maybe.
Portales. Good gravy. They couldn't afford him.
I don't know. There's a lot of
He won't.
Allsup's money out there. It's middle of the oil patch.
It's God's country.
Oil patch.
Oh.
I like that I didn't even mean to do that the first time. That's just how I naturally said it.
Earl.
Oil.
Texas Tech on the road this weekend at the West Virginia Mountaineers. They are 4-7, 2-6 in Big 12 play. Battle for John Denver's soul. West Virginia is, according to S&P Plus, the number 92 team in the country. Texas Tech slides up to number 3. I'll tell you how they got there because it's kind of eye-opening, but they were 4, now they're 3. Kickoff 11 a.m. on ESPN. Current forecasts show quite cold. Not like Iowa State November cold from a couple of years ago when it was like 10 or 12 degrees, whatever it was, and then started snowing on you. But 39 is the high. Luckily, you'll be playing as the day is warming up. So the team will be playing. Mostly cloudy. Could rain or snow, but it's going to be cold. They are led by another Big 12 coach on his redemption tour, Rich Rod. Last year, he got there because last year they went 6-7 and fired Neil Brown. And so far this year, like I said, 4-7, 2-6. How they got there, Michael, is they whooped Robert Morris 45-3, then lost to Ohio 17-10. Somehow beat Pitt in overtime, but it's a rivalry game, man. You just threw everything out the window. Won in overtime, 31-24, and then lost by 31 to Kansas. They lost by 14 to BYU. They lost by 34 to Utah, 32 to UCF. They lost big to UCF. Then they lost by 6 to TCU. Like, these scores make no sense. Then they beat Houston on the road by 10. They beat Colorado by 7. And then lost by 2 to Arizona State.
They're figuring it out.
Are they, though?
Well, yeah, the last 4 games have definitely been an improvement. Losses are just one possession losses.
Yeah, and then they won 2 games in those 4 games, so.
Yeah.
Penalties, Texas Tech is 101st in the country at 7 per game, 77 total on the season. West Virginia, 45th, so not nearly as heavily penalized. 62 total on the year, 5.5 penalties per game. Offensively, the Mountaineers are 91st in the country. I love this matchup, Michael. Texas Tech, number 4 ranked defense versus the 91st ranked offense. Give it to me.
Get some.
No OC listed because why would Rich Rodriguez have an offensive coordinator? His son, Rhett Rodriguez, is listed as the quarterback's coach. And then speaking of redemption tour, Pat White is the assistant quarterback coach and assistant to the head coach. It's got the Dwight Schrute treatment going on there. Not assistant head coach, assistant to the head coach. On the field, currently, they are led by Scotty Fox Jr. Disregard that I have a typo in the notes, Michael. Presumed starter. Although Nico Markiel, Khalil Wilkins, Jalen Henderson have all taken snaps at quarterback this season, but it looks like they've got their guy with Fox. He is completing just under 60% of his passes for a little under 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. On the ground, they were expected to have Jaheim White this season, and he was fantastic last season, but he went down early in the season, I think game 1. and then have since been led by Dior Hubbard, who has 96 carries on the year, but only 334 yards, 335 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Sincere Bowers, 58 carries, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Scotty Fox, already their number 3 leading rusher, 77 carries for 210 yards, but only 2.7 yards per carry. Through the air, they are led by Cam Vaughn, 33 catches, 541 yards, 16.5 yards per catch. Jeff Weimer, 15 catches for 306 yards, 20.5 yards per catch. So those two guys have some juice to them. And then Rodney Gallagher, their number 3 guy, 26 receptions, 231 yards, just under 9 yards per catch. So the explosion comes from Cam Vaughn and Jeff Weimer. They run a ton. They've got a lot of motion, a lot of option. Not very explosive on the ground. They run for 172 yards per game, which is pretty good, but only 3.8 yards per carry. They just run a ton. 193 yards through the air, which is about what Texas Tech gives up, but they do it at 7.2 yards per attempt. Texas Tech gives up 5.5 yards per attempt. Texas Tech gives up 72 yards on the ground at less than 2.5 yards per carry. They are not very good on 3rd and 4th down. They convert only 34%, where Texas Tech is holding teams at 32. They score 23 points per game, almost 24. Texas Tech gives up 12.
That's a crazy number. I mean, we're week 14.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Tech is giving up 12 points a game.
Yeah, the
season
number. The season numbers, like I have a hard time believing it. Like those are the numbers I would expect after a week or 2 of playing non-conference opponents that are severely overmatched.
Well,
like,
yeah, and even after Oregon State, once you realize, oh gosh, yeah, they're gonna have a bad year, and sure enough, they did. Coach is fired. I don't know. They were 0-6 last I checked. I don't know where they are now. But after the first 3 games, you think, yeah, averaging 11, 12 points a season. Well, it's nice while it lasted. Here we are on the cusp of December and averaging 12 points a game on defense. Let's go.
Defensively, the Mountaineers are 84th in the country. Here's where they made their move. Texas Tech made their move in the SCP Plus rankings. They went from 11th on offense to 3rd.
Is it the Griffiths effect?
It may be the Griffiths effect.
Okay.
They are coordinated by Zach Alley. I've never heard of this guy, but as a unit, his team has 25 sacks on the season. Pretty well spread out because their leading sack getter is linebacker Reed Carrico. Carrico only has 3.5, but they have 69 total tackles for loss, 6.5 per game, 10 interceptions, 36 passes batted down. Those are decent numbers. Only 21 quarterback hits or hurries, 11 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries. Like they're havoc creating plays. The rate seems to be okay to good. They're not getting a whole lot on the sacks, or at least they don't have like a key, like a number 1 sack guy. But they're just not very sound tackling wise. And I will point to them being led by 2 safeties as their tackling leaders. I looked into their scheme, Michael. They run a 3-man front with a stand-up defensive end, 3 linebackers, and yet their 2 leading tacklers are their deep safeties.
Ooh, okay.
Fred Perry, 77, Darian Lewis, 63, and then Reed Carrico. I've never heard his name. He's got 58. They will be lining up against the number 3 scoring offense in the country, the number 3 S&P Plus offense. Texas Tech scoring 42.5 points per game. Baron Morton said to be feeling better, at best as he's felt since his injury, according to Joey McGuire, after having the week off going into the UCF game, or sorry, having the week in a boot. Still wearing a boot. Absolutely says he doesn't need it, but said he did that going into the UCF game, played as well as he did, and then got pulled. So like we're gonna do that again, just to make sure he's gonna continue to heal. But he's completing 66.5% of his passes, just over 2,100 passing yards, 9 yards per attempt, but 13.5 yards per completion, 17 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Those numbers are so. And like, if anybody thinks about this Texas Tech offense, especially from the outside, they're like, man, they're just that's not very Texas Tech-esque. Remind everybody, Baron Morton, going into game 12 of the season, has only played 3 complete games this season. Part of that for injury or rest, or because you were up so big it didn't even matter who was back there. So you went ahead and took him out anyways, which is just wild that game number 11, you pulled your starting quarterback, not because he was hurt, but because Europe was so big in the second quarter. But also, it's just been a down year for passing. I looked at the passing leaders, Michael. Sawyer Robertson at Baylor is number 1. And I think he's got like only 3,000 passing yards. I mean,
Well, they don't have a lot of points to show for that either. Their scoring offense can't be that high.
Sorry, it's now been updated because that was not updated. Drew Mestemaker is first. He's got just under 3,500 passing yards.
You know, I think you're right because I just saw a graphic on Facebook. It decided I needed to see this. Orange Bloods created what was obviously a rage bait graphic comparing the 2 quarterbacks at Texas and A&M and saying that there's a case that Manning is actually a better quarterback or is having a better season. And his statistics were better in almost every category, which was what was funny, except for wins. But there was, I think they had 27 or 2,800 yards apiece. That's all. I was coming around to that.
Yeah. Caden Veltkamp, number 2 in passing yards, Florida Atlantic. Good job, Kitley.
Makes sense. That
He
tracks.
is 11 yards behind Drew Mestemaker. Sawyer Robertson's 4th at 33.72.
The Fighting Owls. I don't know if they're the Fighting Owls.
Or just the Owls.
Some
North
form of
Texas.
owl.
Yeah, North Texas is number 1 scoring offense at 46 points per game. Indiana's second at 43.3. Texas Tech is third at 42.6. Utah got a bump. They're up to number 6 in scoring offense at 41.8 points per game after they put up 51 this past weekend.
Well, and I think they put up 40-something the weekend before.
Yeah. The other thing that's leading to some contracted numbers for Baron Morton is just how dang good your running backs are.
Yep.
Cam Dickey has nearly 1,000 rushing yards in the season, 944 yards and 168 carries. That's 5.6 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns. He has more than 1,000 total yards, 185 touches. He's got 1,123 yards and 14 touchdowns. It's good for just over 6 yards every time he touches the ball. Jacoby Williams adds another 660 rushing yards, 5.8 yards per carry and 5 touchdowns. And he's got 27 catches for 360 yards. So that puts him over 1,000 yards as well. 139 touches on the season, 1,024 total yards, 7 touchdowns. So he gets 7.5 yards every time he touches the ball. So your 2 running backs have combined for 2,150 yards and 21 touchdowns.
Yeah. And between 6 and 7 yards per touch.
Yeah.
On average. Incredible.
When the ball's in the air, though, if it's not going to Jacoby Williams, that's going to Caleb Douglas. We know that he's got 48 catches on the year, almost 700 yards, 14.5 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. Reggie Virgil's taken over the number 2 spot, 45 catches, 561 yards, 12.5 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns. And as of last week, or the last game, he's added 2 rushing touchdowns. So he's got 8 total touchdowns. Koy Aiken, 41 catches, 532 yards, 13 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. So your top 3 guys combined for 1,700 yards and 5, 9, 15, 17 touchdowns. Terrence Carter right there behind him, 33 catches, 430 yards, 5 more touchdowns. And man, wasn't it a beautiful thing to see him take a handoff?
Yeah.
I love that. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of Jacob Rodriguez. Not even on goal line. Like, go ahead and do that same package. 3rd and 2 at the 40. Just go get a couple yards, man. Offensively, Texas Tech is putting up nearly 290 yards through the air at 8.3 yards per attempt, 193 yards on the ground at 5 yards per carry, converting just under 48% of their 3rd and 4th down attempts and putting up 42 points per game. Defensively, the Mountaineers are giving up 255 through the air at 8 yards per attempt. That is not good. 140 yards on the ground, 3.5 yards per carry. That's okay. Not great. Teams are converting almost 39% of their 3rd and 4th down attempts. That's not good. And scoring 29 points per game. Also not good.
Yeah, especially when your offense only scores 24.
Yeah, giving up 5 more points than your offensive scoring is recipe for a lot of losing games.
Ask me how I know.
We've been there. CFB Graphs has this Texas Tech win probability just at 85%. The matchup here, the defense versus the West Virginia offense, and again, because of your highly rated defense,
It's bloody.
it's ridiculous. It's 1 in EPA per rush, 1 in EPA first EPA per rush, EPA per drop back, 1st in quality drive rate, 21st in points per quality drive, 13th in field position, 19th in run rate over expected, 1st in early down EPA, and 7th and 3rd and 4th down success. Offensively, it's a little bit more mixed, but still significant advantages there for the Red Raiders. Stats Award Advanced Stats Preview here has Texas Tech winning this one 37-14. I don't think I disagree with that. I would love to see fewer points, but understand like West Virginia's at home and maybe they get some. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to like to say Tech like they're gonna have a better day against you than what you're giving up because they're just not very good. So the line opened up at 20.5. When I checked this afternoon, it was up to 24.5, which is a big swing. I'm gonna take Texas Tech to win, obviously here, and I think Texas Tech is going to win handsomely, Michael. I think it's going to be, let's say, 45-10.
Hoof. Okay. I'm not far from you there. And I'm picking Texas Tech to win 42-16. And the reason I used that score is because that was the score I picked Texas Tech to beat UCF. And the spread against UCF was 23.5. And after I saw what Tech did against BYU the week before, I don't remember if I had Tech covering or not versus BYU, but I don't think I did. After I saw that, I thought, yeah, I'm going to pick Tech to cover from now on until I see something that proves otherwise. So I feel like, why not just use the same exact score prediction. So that was my prediction against UCF, 42-16. I do want to see a little bit more, not to be mean or unsportsmanlike or whatever, but if Texas Tech is up 35-17 or whatever it is, and they're driving in the fourth quarter, get in the end zone. Do it. This committee, whoever, don't leave this stuff to chance. Don't have they only beat West Virginia 35-17. They're not going to remember that Texas Tech was driving and kneeled out the game. No one's going to remember that. Score, please.
I'm adjusting. Sorry, I'm going to adjust my score.
Oh, so I see. I didn't even notice. I was just rambling in my own world. Go ahead.
I was thinking about Texas Tech home versus road splits. I don't have the graph pulled up right in front of me. I can get there in like 15 seconds. Because we haven't talked about it lately. Let me just share.
That's my bad. I deleted that. I didn't know you were going to reference that again. I got you.
Okay, we are there. Score by quarter. Texas Tech. Let's just look at conference games. Texas Tech on the road is averaging scoring 33.5 points per game, giving up 17 points per game. Now,
so you're going a little bit. You're skewing a little bit beyond that average in both directions.
Yeah. So your road opponents, conference road opponents, have been Utah, Houston, Arizona State, Kansas State. So this would be your worst of all of those. Worst opponent out of all of those on the road. I do think you score more than your average here. I think you're scoring more than 33.5. So I've got you. I'm saying Texas Tech will score. I'm going to adjust it down to 38. And I also think, again, this is the worst team you've played on the road. I'm going to adjust down their scoring, some 17. I'm going to...
38-1.
I was thinking about putting like 13 there, and that brings it right back to the actual projected spread here at 25. I thought they may kick a lot of field goals, but then I also thought like there'd be no point in kicking field goals, right? Like if you're down by 3 touchdowns, why are you kicking field goals? So I was going to say 12.
Well, let's look at their previous scores again in their blowout losses. So UCF, they lost 45-13. There's some field goals in there. Kansas, they lost 41-10. There's at least one there. So yeah, there's a chance. But I think their recent ones, maybe not. I don't know how they scored 23 versus Arizona State, but I imagine there were some field goals there. But that was at least close. That was just a 2-point game.
All right, I'm going to go 38-13. Yeah, you're going to score a little bit more than your average. Weather shouldn't be a huge factor, but I'm going to say there's enough weirdness there that like maybe it keeps you from the 40s. So I don't know. I'm probably way overthinking this. 38-13. Good guys. So you cover barely. You do not hit the over 52.5 with my score prediction, at least.
For the Texas Tech in our preseason preview back in August.
Oh yeah, would love for you to update the people on this, Michael.
Spitzer had Tech going 12-0. I had Tech going 10-2. And of those two losses, one of them was at Arizona State, and obviously I didn't imagine it going the way it did with backup quarterback, all that fun stuff. The other loss I had penciled in was this week versus West Virginia, because at the time that just felt like one of those Both teams are coming off a bye week. West Virginia, I don't anticipate them being very strong this year in the Big 12, but I thought they might be, 5-6, fighting for a bowl game, that kind of thing. They're hosting. Texas Tech has gotten the best of them several years. Most of the last several years, and might kind of have a little bit of a target on it. But I'm not really feeling that this week, obviously, with the score prediction I said. But back in August, I was. And West Virginia's 4-7, so they are out of bowl contention unless someone turns one down somewhere, and they do get to that fifth win, which I think would be pretty crazy. But just wanted to throw that out there. I did have this as an L back in August, one of only 2 on the season, and
I hope you're wrong, by the way.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be extremely wrong, and that's great. That's why we do this.
Yeah. 'Cause I'd rather you be wrong in your preseason projections and us finishing 11-1.
Oh yeah.
Than you going 12-0 in your preseason projections.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not going to hang my hat on that. I'm not going to be. Well, I said back in August that West Virginia was going to be trouble. That's way better than being 11 and no, don't care.
If Texas Tech wins this weekend, we both finish the season 11-1, as does Texas Tech.
On our picks, yeah, that's great.
Which is wild, Michael. Texas Tech on the doorstep of an 11-win season. And I was being a little facetious because I just got all riled up about that review that said we were Pink Raiders and so negative. And I say they were talking about me. I said, you know what? 12-0, take that. Well,
and I
had no idea about this defense.
I talked myself. I rationalized it and thought, man, if there's going to be a season to believe, it's this one, and I'm going to do it. And I did actually feel good about it. That pick 6 preview. Shout out to, I forget the guy's name who does that, but that gave me a little bit of confidence in that, because I was 8-4, which I thought was crazy optimistic. I was 9-3. And then I settled on 10-2, which I just thought was insane, but I stuck with it anyway. Go Raiders.
Yeah, Brett Ciancia.
Thank you.
You probably couldn't hear that with the creaking of my chair, but all right. 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday. There are games because of the holiday, Thanksgiving holiday. We got games Friday night, Friday afternoon, Friday night. Texas Tech could know their Big 12 title game appearance fate by the time you get to kickoff. But let's look at the rest of the Big 12, Michael. Utah at Kansas, Friday morning, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Utah's a 14-point favorite on the road against 5-6 Kansas. Kansas fighting for their life, man. They need this last one.
Not feeling it. I don't think they're going to get it.
You don't think so?
No.
Nah, Utah's just like, it's like they're really good. And it feels good to see them do as well as they've done. And then you look back like, yeah, we beat them. Yeah, BYU beat them. And we beat BYU. And they're like, oh, but it was a 3-point game late. It's like, well, that's not how it ended. If the game ended at 55 minutes, yeah, you still would have lost. But it would have been closer, I guess, for you.
You might have covered, I guess. I don't remember what the line was. But that's great.
I think it was a pick 'em with like 1.5. It was yeah. Yeah, I think Utah's got this one pretty easily. Arizona at Arizona State, 8 p.m. Friday night on Big Fox.
Rivalry game. Who knows? Give me the Wildcats. Even though they're favored.
I want Arizona State to win this one. Because I don't want there to be any kind of letdown from Texas. I don't expect that there would be. But like you still like it would still be hard to have that motivation. There's like, well, we want to play for the title, but if the results in the game doesn't matter, you still be playing for the title. Like that just no. Like have Arizona State win, have them still be alive in it, and then you go end it by winning.
Here's what I've heard. The coaching staff at Texas Tech is going to confiscate all phones and devices during their travel to Pennsylvania to get to West Virginia. So they will do that, and the team will not know. They will have no idea
Until
who
they
won
get
that game.
in the stadium and they give a score update.
Well, I mean, it kicks off 9 p.m. local. They better be in bed. They better be asleep.
No, I meant
getting a good rest. They'll not checking phones. They'll never. I'm kidding. I don't know anything about what's going on. I'm sure they talk about it openly, but I'm kind of with you. I would like back to what I was saying earlier. Keep your foot on the gas. Let's not kneel this thing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saturday morning you have a whole slate. Basically, everybody else kicks off at noon except for Cincinnati and TCU.
Yeah, this was what the 6-day window was for. They waited for the 6-day window, and they assigned everything a morning game except for Cincinnati at TCU. So, okay, well,
yeah.
All right.
So if you want to watch Big 12 football, you better get the remote going or the quad box or multiple screens up.
Get you a big cup of coffee. Shout out to Kyle. Loves him a big cup of coffee.
Yeah, he can't do anything without his cup of coffee.
Man, got to get that coffee first.
Iowa State, 13.5-point favorites at Oklahoma State. I'm tempted to say Oklahoma State covers this because of what they've been doing lately. So give me the Cowboys to cover. They'll still lose. But, yeah, give me Cowboys to cover.
I mean, that doesn't sound crazy. Oklahoma State is – I mean, it's at home. Their fans are still kind of in it, even though they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of wallowing in the pity and kind of having as much fun with it as they can. And, Matt Campbell's headed to Auburn, so he's not. He doesn't even know. His bag is packed. Yeah, we don't know.
LSU.
Yeah. Between him and Dillingham, they're probably just sharing flights.
Golly, what a world. Houston at Baylor. Baylor somehow is a 2.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Houston to win this one on the road.
Give me Baylor. They're fighting for a bowl game. They're going to win one more for Dave.
Win one more for the Gippa. 11 a.m. TNT, HBO Max. They'll at least have a good broadcast production value on that one. Colorado at Kansas State. A whole slate of 5 and 6 teams. Colorado at Kansas State. Kansas State needs one more to get bowl eligible. They are 17.5-point favorites at home. I think they get it done. Probably cover. I would have thought they would have covered versus Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago, but Colorado's not the same. So, yeah, give me Purple Kansas to win and cover 11 a.m. FS1 versus Colorado.
I've got Kansas State winning, but Colorado covering the plus 17.5 just because it's hard to come back from last week, what happened last week. But Kansas State does need the win to get bowl eligible, and I would be super surprised if they don't get it.
Yeah. UCF at BYU. UCF is another fighting team for bowl eligibility. 5 and 6, 12 p.m. ESPN2. BYU is just too good.
I didn't write the line down for that one. Let me see what whatever it is, BYU is going to cover.
Yeah, I think so. And then Cincinnati at TCU. TCU is a favorite here at home. Make that make sense. Give me Cincinnati to win and cover on the road.
Agreed.
Nobody's on a bye week.
Everybody
in the club.
BYU's minus 17.5.
Yeah,
I think that's why, because it was the same spread as Kansas State, so I forgot to put it. Yeah, BYU covers.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've gone back to that thing where they play you close.
Well, they've also been playing decent competition.
That's true.
Well, I know they wiped the floor with TCU 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you're right. I was just thinking that they beat the snot out of somebody, but I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, they were just Cincinnati. Big noon and game day, both at the Ohio State at Michigan game. Good for them. Who doesn't need more eyes on the game than the number one team in the country? Trying to see if they can stave off an upset.
That won't matter except to Ohio State, Michigan fans.
Yeah. Texas A&M at Texas. It's Friday night, 6:30 on ABC. Yeah, I'm going to watch that one. Sorry. James Madison at Coastal. Even with the playoff implications, I'm not going to tune into this one. I couldn't. I mean, unless we hear that Texas Tech is 5 tomorrow night on the CFP ranking show, and like this is for that last spot, potentially the number 12 spot. So
it could be. Well, James Madison's was, I think they were the highest ranked G5 last week. Of course, North Texas is in the mix, and I forget who the other one is. There's 3 of them kind of floating around. Tulane, I think, is kind of popping back into play, but I don't know who all plays everybody. I just know the last time the CFP rankings came out, it was, I think James Madison was 21st or 3rd or 5th, 4th in the country, and the number 1 G5 team.
yeah,
we'll see.
I failed to mention it earlier. We actually got a prediction in for the Texas Tech game. Tim Brookmiller says Texas Tech wins 55-10 against the raccoon tail wearing couch burners.
I'd take it.
Hooey.
55-10.
Yeah, the Big 12 championship game, Saturday, December 6th, 11 a.m. kickoff on ABC. So
I'll be busy.
We'll know who's playing in that game, potentially Friday night, if not about 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon. But yeah, Michael, the Red Raider soccer team season came to a close.
It did. I have a final soccer update, everybody, and it was a heartbreaker. So in the season, 14-2-4 overall, 7-1-3 in Big 12 play. They finished 4th in the Big 12, and they went down to North Carolina. And that was confusing how I said that. The game was played in Fort Worth because TCU was hosting. TCU was the top seed in that quad of teams that were going to play in the round of 32 and the round of 16, not Sweet 16 because patent pending or copyright infringement or whatever. But Texas Tech played North Carolina. Game got moved from Thursday to Friday because of weather last week. 4:00. I got to see the end of it after I got home from work. Carolina, as we mentioned last week, they got ranked for the first time, I think, by the United Soccer Coaches because they defeated number 3 seed Tennessee 3-1 at Tennessee in round 1. So a team to not be taken lightly, and they proved it. Texas Tech ended up with a 1-1 tie at the end of regulation, went through 2 overtimes, still tied, and then UNC went on to win 4-3 on penalty kicks. So best of 5 on penalty kicks. It would have turned into, I think, sudden death or whatever after that. But Faith win with a really good save on one of those kicks. Texas Tech's last chance, unfortunately, the young lady who kicked it over the goal, so it wasn't even close. But tough way to go out on penalty kicks in the round of 32, and that brings the season to a close. Krzyzewski finishes the season with 16 goals, 3 assists. Macy Blackburn with 5 goals, 13 assists. I think that put her number 1, or at least tied for number 1. all time at Texas Tech on the assists. So she's up there. Peyton Parsons, 7 goals, 6 assists. Sam Courtwright, she was kind of coming alive later in the year, especially on the assists. 4 goals, 7 assists on the season for her. And Faith Wynn allowed only 16 goals through 21 games, and that included 177 shots and 66 saves. So a really, really good season by those 5 players specifically, but wish it would have been able to get a little bit further. If I was worth my salt, I would have looked in to see how UNC did, because they went on to face the winner of Memphis versus TCU, I believe. And I did not look into that. But you know who would have? Seeing Scarlet would have. And they probably would have a lot more to say about it. So as always, this is my plug for our good friends over at Seeing Scarlet. Check them out on the YouTubes, wherever you download your podcasts, and subscribe to their content. Are you looking that up, Spencer?
Trying to.
Man, I had that. Hang on, let me see. Let me see if I can pull up the tournament bracket. That might be the best thing.
Is this last year's? No, I'm not seeing.
I've noticed that especially with women's soccer, things get updated just kind of whenever.
Oh, there's
they
a
decide to.
whole second bracket down here. They went on to. They lost in penalty kicks to TCU.
Oh my gosh! So North Carolina was on a heater, man. They just got hot. They got hot at the right time. They were that. I don't want to say Cinderella because I didn't know enough about them, but sort of. They weren't really ranked on the season as far as their overall record before they played Tech. At least they were 13-6-0 and 6-4-0 in the ACC. So, above 500, but didn't scream danger. But then, once they take down number 3 Tennessee, that starts to get people's attention. So they took TCU to penalty kicks, and TCU was able to come out of that and represent in the final. No, they're in the Elite 8, I guess, the final 8. So who cares? They play Vanderbilt, whatever.
Yeah, they face off. There's TCU, Vanderbilt on the Texas Tech bracket. Duke, Washington on the other side. Ohio State, Florida State, Stanford, Michigan State.
So as good as TCU has been this season, this is just a reminder that when they played Texas Tech, I believe it was a tie.
Yeah, TCU's 18-2-2 on the season.
Yeah, so TCU, when they came to Lubbock, they were one of those twos was in Lubbock. 1-1, a 1-1 draw. Anyway, That's it. That's it for soccer. We'll see y'all next year.
Yeah. Basketball games were played, Michael. Do you want to talk about basketball? There's nothing really
honestly,
happened, right?
No.
Look, I'm going to be skies falling guy, and it's a little early. For what we were hearing, and yes, it's early. You're like 5 games into the season. The questions around this team and the overall talent and skill around the rest of the conference has me with more than just raised eyebrows. It concerned is where I'm at. My concern meter is elevated. You had a 1-point victory versus Wake Forest, and you should have won that game by more than 1. And then you just got absolutely blasted by Purdue. You lost by 30, and there's no way to sugarcoat that. Your biggest loss as a ranked team since I looked it up since 2009, 2010, when you lost by 29 to Oklahoma State. You were ranked 22nd in the country at that point, not 15th. Now, Oklahoma State wasn't ranked. But losing by 30 is just that's not Good teams don't lose by 30.
Well, the way it looked too, because I watched a decent chunk of the Wake Forest game on Thursday. The Purdue game I was unable to tune in until it was almost halftime, and it was already almost a 30-point game at that point. And then I did stay around a little bit after halftime, and just the size that Purdue had and the way they were able to move the ball. Defensively, I'm more concerned about anything than offensively. And it's not like the offenses looked good, but the defense is worrying me the most.
Here's the other thing that has me concerned. We've been talking about how Texas Tech has been oversized, outmatched size-wise, basically every year.
Since we've been doing this podcast. I mean, maybe the Odiase, Tariq Owens year, I don't know if we had that much to say, but that's the lone exception. I still remember Marcus Santos Silva, God bless him, volleyballing rebounds out to the top of the key, because as much as he worked and as talented as he could be at times, he was still it's so weird to say this about someone 6'8" or 9. He was still a shorter guy down there.
Yeah. So it's just not like a limitation of your program, because there aren't a ton of guys floating around. But it sure feels that way sometimes when you line up against all these teams and you're always smaller than them. It's like, well, for what you're able to do on the recruiting trail, like, we should be able to address this, and we just haven't been able to, or we don't.
I mean, Bangboye had some bright spots in the Wake Forest game. I didn't see him do as much in the Purdue game, but that was nice. That was one of the positives. Just kind of seeing one of our big guys get some action. 6'11". But
yeah,
still a thing.
Yeah. Ratings updates. Ken Palm, you start off the season at 12. Latest check was yesterday, you're at 30th. 21st in offense, 49th in defense. Metrics has you at 24th. Sorry, had you at 24th. You're at 33rd now. AP poll, Arizona moves up to number 2. They were number 4. They probably have the most impressive resume on the season so far. I think they've got 2 top 5 victories on their 5-0 schedule already. Houston moves down from 2nd to 3rd, not because they lost or anything. BYU holding strong at 9. Iowa State at 15. Texas Tech drops from 15 to 20. Illinois is just bouncing around like the basketball that this game was played with. They went from 14th to 8th after beating Texas Tech, and they just dropped back down to 13th. Kansas, this is weird to say, was previously 24th, now unranked, but they are still receiving votes, as are Baylor and Oklahoma State. This chair sucks so bad.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised Texas Tech is as high as they are in the AP poll, at least. I think that speaks volumes to what Chris Beard and Adams, McCaslin, what they've been able to accomplish at Texas Tech over the last decade or so. Yeah. I think previous years, a Texas Tech team that somehow climbed to that point and then got beat by 30 at a neutral site, whether it's the number 1 team or not, would have just been, all right, you were 15 last week. Well, see ya. We're done. I think they've garnered enough respect, and they know that maybe that was just a bad off night, and maybe it was, but man, okay. I know you've got a question for me later, so I'm going to hold off on that. But yeah, if you're in town, if you're still in town for the Thanksgiving break, Texas Tech basketball does host New Orleans at noon on Wednesday, the 26th. So you can get in some basketball before you eat some turkey and whatever else you're going to do on Thursday. Sunday, the Wyoming game will also be in Lubbock at 2 p.m. Both of those games are on ESPN Plus. And then December 7th, the same day as the Big 12 championship game, important to some, or the day after.
Same weekend.
Yeah, same weekend, day after. LSU will be in Fort Worth at Dickies Arena to take on the Red Raiders on ESPN2.
What a
And you
weekend.
got something else here. What else? What you got here?
So I saw this announcement come out today. I don't know if you've read it now, but Big 12 announced a partnership with the Players Era Men's Championship Tournament. Now, I'd never heard of this until today, but apparently it is the largest basketball tournament outside of March. That's about all they can say about it. But it is a November basketball tournament that will be held in Las Vegas. This sponsorship or partnership with Texas Tech secures 8 spots for Big 12 teams in this tournament. It will be the top 8 teams. It did not clarify who the opponents would be, but it would be for the seasons 2026 through 2030. And at this moment, they are committing $50 million back to the Big 12 in rights fees. So I listen to the Locked On Texas Tech podcast in the mornings when I go for my morning workouts. Probably because we had just a negative experience this past weekend with the Baja Mar Championship being played in a hotel ballroom overseas. I don't disagree with what Casey Callan was saying. Is like, can we not find an American gym to play these games in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's bring it back. Sorry, my nose is itching. Bring these games back. Let's play them in American gyms on U.S. soil. So sure, you'll have fewer of these teams, of your teams playing in like Hawaii or the Bahamas or Jamaica or whatever it is they've been doing in these November tournaments. You'll just gather the top half of your conference in Las Vegas. But I think this is better overall, especially when you hear like, $10 million back to the conference per season in rights fees. Yeah, I'd rather see that than these scattered tournaments all around the globe.
It's definitely better for fans. It's just way more accessible to get to Vegas than Baja Mar.
Except for Purdue fans, but then again, they don't have a decent football team, so
yeah,
nothing else going on.
Their travel budget is just ready.
Yeah, they're not saving up for trips to a conference title game or a deep run in
Los Angeles. They're not flying to Los Angeles a couple times a year or Eugene.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a Lady Raiders update.
Yeah, I was going to just transition to that because they are unblemished on the season. Where Texas Tech men's team is 4-2, Lady Raiders are unbeaten,
7-0 at this point. I have not looked up when the last time that happened, and a lot of people will scoff. Well, it's preseason or pre-conference or whatever. Okay, they've had 3 wins over Power 4 opponents, including one just last Thursday. It was a back and forth game. Actually, I think Tech led most of it, but Mississippi State was just right there the whole time. Ended up winning 69-62. Hosted Mississippi State here. Bristow with 18 points, Maupin with 17, Collins again off the bench with 17. So those 3 are just, like I mentioned last week, boom, boom, boom. Those are your 3 top scorers. And then guess what happened again? Played New Mexico on the road, first road game. New Mexico was 4-1 prior to this game, with their only loss being at Colorado. Texas Tech pulled away. This one was a little bit closer in the first half, ended up winning 82-57.
on the road in New Mexico. Bristow with 16, Maupin with 15, Collins with 16 off the bench. I think we're seeing a pattern. Really, I mean, a really good start for this. As I said last week, trying not to be, try not to throw too many expectations out there and whatnot. But, there were some very early bracketology projections with Mississippi State and Texas Tech kind of in the mix. And so that game could mean a little bit more down the road. You never know. But I really am liking what I'm seeing with this team. Bristow has just been incredible. She cuts to the basket. She's smart. Nunez being on the team has allowed Maupin's offense to just flourish. And Nunez, she's getting 5 assists. She's getting 8 assists in these last 2 games, 13 combined. So she's finding the players who can go score. I think Tech needs a better presence down low. Sonogo's had kind of a rough year, but Malone's played well off the bench. But I think they're going to kind of count on, Bristow's, I think, 6'1" or 2. I think Collins is pretty tall. I can't remember what her exact height is, but it seems like they're going to go a little bit small this year themselves based off of the playing time we've seen some of their bigs get in these last couple of games. But Malone may work herself into the starting lineup. I don't know. She played 21 minutes against Mississippi State in a really big game at home that was close the whole way, and we might see more of her come conference time. But Lady Raiders have been pretty impressive so far. A lot of basketball to go. I know there's been a lot of disappointment, at least record-wise, on that program in the last several years. So hopefully this is an upward trend and it's heading where it needs to. They have their own tournament on American soil. Spencer and Casey Cowan will be glad to hear that. So this week they will be in Frisco playing at the Comerica Center Tuesday the 25th versus Old Dominion at 4:30, and Thursday November 27th. That's called Thanksgiving. Versus North Texas at 2 p.m. Both of those games you will probably not watch because they are on Flow Sports, which I've kind of vowed to never give them money. And I think many of you feel the same way. So if you're around a radio, listen to the broadcast. You can catch the guys on, if it's not on 97.3, it'll be on 100.7 The Score. You can stream that just about anywhere. No free ads, but whatever. And then they will be back home the following week, Wednesday, December 3rd versus Wichita State at 6 p.m. That will be on ESPN Plus. I hope we can go to that one. Our schedule should be clear next Wednesday, or we'll at least try to make it that way. So that'll be good. Go Lady Raiders. 7-0.
I had something to say. I forgot. Well, I'm sure it'll pop up randomly here in a little bit. All right. While we're here, let's go ahead and jump into one of my questions, Michael. You kind of mentioned a second ago. Going back to men's basketball, what's your concern meter at right now? Are you concerned? Is it just like it's early, or it's going to be, you are third or fourth in the conference, and that's okay too?
I'm absolutely concerned. I have 2 answers to this. I have a concern meter and a care meter. My concern meter is rattling. It is up there. The needle is into the red or wherever it needs to be. My care meter, while Texas Tech is on a historic 10-1 season at this moment in football, my care meter is just like fluttering above 0.4. I don't know. But my concern meter is up there because what I have seen, I have not been impressed with. That one of their best games was that loss to Illinois, and that was solely because Toppin went nuclear and they just couldn't stop him. But that was all Texas Tech had that night, pretty much. I think they had a little bit of offensive help from some of the other players. Anderson hasn't been himself yet. So offensively, I'm concerned, medium concerned, but defensively, big time concerned. Just what Illinois was able to do on the glass, what Purdue was able to do. These guys are making bounce passes in the lane from the 3-point line. In college, this is not. I mean, you just and consistently they were doing that over and over, and guys are just completely out of position and unable to stop these athletic players. And even if they could, I don't know if they've got the size. I mean, yes, my concern meter is pretty darn high, but I have to say my care meter is pretty low. And maybe I'll care more, starting January 20th or so.
Yeah, like once we get through the football season, like, well, now what? I'm probably with you on the care meter right now. It's like we've had basketball the past 5, 6, 7 years. It feels like take our minds off of how the football season's kind of come to a grinding halt, and it'd be like, well, that was disappointing.
Yeah,
But at least we got basketball. Now it's flipped. It's back to football. It's like, well, it's early for the basketball season, but we still got meaningful football to be played. We'll get to that later. No, concern, yeah, like the offense right now feels like it's get the ball to Toppin. If he gets doubled, he's going to chunk it out to probably back to Anderson, who's going to take a 3 or find Donovan Atwell. And it's like that can't be the only thing this offense can do is try to get it to Toppin, who's been double teamed more often than not. Like it seems like that's just everybody's defensive plan is just whenever Toppin gets the ball, just collapse on him. And force Texas Tech to shoot well, and they haven't had enough in the early, in the 6 games we've seen, shooting well enough to have that defensive strategy not work out. Like it works out enough that teams aren't having to fall back off of that. So
yeah, I feel kind of silly saying that Anderson's not really himself when he's averaging 18 points a game. I just think
he's doing really well, but it's just he and Toppin.
Yes, that's it. That I should walk that back. I don't think that I can lay any of this really to Anderson. Definitely not Toppin. I hope I've made that clear. But it's just, I'm like you. The offense is a 2-trick pony at best, if we're lucky. And we just haven't seen some of these other transfers. Not that these guys are, but some of these transfers really, contribute in a positive way, at least on the stat sheet. Anything that would help get some points going. But yeah, Atwell's had some a good go of it here, but it's not like Watts is taking a lot of threes, but he's 25% on them and bringing 10 points a game, which is great. You'll take what you can get, but man, I'd just like to see some more out of the starters and just some consistent starters.
The other thing I think I'm concerned with is like, okay, Luan Watts is one of the transfers that I think a lot of people had looked at and had really high hopes for, and it just hasn't been as productive as I think we had all hoped. To my eyes, it looks like he's so used to being the most talented player on the court that when he gets the ball, he just kind of forces something to happen. But with this with this Texas Tech team, and I'm not saying he's bad, I'm saying there are other options to try to seek out. Like it doesn't have to be you. You're not the primary ball handler. You don't have to make everything happen. but it still kind of feels that he's trying to, he operates that way. Does that make sense? Is that
Yeah.
something that like you have picked up on as well, or is that just me being uneducated basketball
No,
wise?
I think that's how he ends up with the second most turnovers on the team too. He has 10 turnovers despite playing a lot less minutes than Anderson or Toppin, who each have 15, but they kind of have the ball in their hands a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he still has 10 on his own. I think you're right. There's some forcing there. Speaking of forcing, where was it? I had this pulled up earlier. Jalen Petty, he's 27% from the field. He's 13 of 48. 10 of 36 from 3. 28%. I mean, that's not great. That's forcing some stuff. So I mean, we're seeing a lot of that. Just kind of, I don't know, kick it out to him. Kick it out to him. Just like you said, they've got Toppin doubled. Well, it's a soft double. Okay, so he's going to pass to whoever left his man, or then we're going to fire up a 3. I mean, Tech's shooting 35% from 3 overall. That's not terrible, but it's really not great either, and it's not going to be sustainable to have any sort of hope. So as good as Toppin is and as good as Anderson is, I don't know if they're good enough to dig them out of this hole, especially if Tech can adjust defensively.
All right, Michael, let's wrap up with no, sorry, not what did we learn. We haven't gotten there yet. Questions. I asked you about concern meter with basketball. You have a question for me. And it goes for both of us, I think, but you had a submission here. So
my question for you, what are your Thanksgiving plans? Big question. The people want to know.
Yep. Well, we're doing a traditional Thanksgiving here in old Corpus Christi, 23 personnel south. I am smoking a turkey. I've got that bad boy thawing in the fridge. I'm going to throw it into a brine. Tuesday night, brine overnight, all day. Wednesday, pull it out, dry it off, and let the skin dry out back in the fridge. Wednesday night into Thursday morning, throw that bad boy in the smoker. I'm going to spatchcock it, which is the big deal these days. Throw that out there. And then we are responsible for mac and cheese and rolls and one of the pies and drinks. All the materials have been assembled, purchased.
Yes.
But then we have to go make the mac and cheese. And I'm not making boxed mac and cheese, but I'm also not going to bake it. My experience with baking mac and cheese is like you go through all the effort of making a cheese sauce, but then you bake it and it dries out.
Yeah,
So,
it turns into I don't mean this in a bad way, but a brick. It does. It holds. It turns into a solid a lot of times.
That's not what I want. Like if I'm going to go through the effort of making not boxed mac and cheese, I want it to be goopy, and I'm not going to put all the extra Cheez-Its or Goldfish or Doritos on top. No, I'm just going to make it goopy, and that's going to be fantastic. And we've got like candied yams and green bean casserole and deviled eggs and mashed potatoes and gravy, and we're going rolls 2 different ways because we were in charge of the rolls. I'm a big fan of the Sister Schubert's, the little metal pan, the little ones for Thanksgiving. But as a people pleaser, as a crowd pleaser, I asked the group that's going to be here, I was like, hey, here are the 2 options. It was Sister Schubert's and then Rhodes. I was like, does anybody feel strongly one way or the other? And everybody said either will work except for one. It was my brother-in-law, but it was like not Samantha's brother, but her brother-in-law, so her sister's husband. He said Rhodes. Like, you know what? We'll do both
That's fine.
because it's bread. We all love bread. We all love rolls. And then we went to HEB to get the pies. We got the pumpkin cheesecake swirl and the chocolate pecan.
Son, that is a lineup.
Like we have, so there are going to be 12 of us. So there's 5 of us, 5 of her sister, and then her 2 parents. Yeah.
The benefit, and I'm just still going back to it because I enjoy it so much. The benefit of the macaroni and cheese that you're talking about making, that you are going to make,
Mhm.
is the sauce is going to be around the plate. It's gonna mingle with some things. There's going to be an opportunity to get a little bit of that cheese sauce on a Miss Schubert's roll. There's going to be,
Mhm.
it might drift. It's a little piece of turkey over there. It's gonna find some dressing at some point. Just couldn't like that more. I think that's a great thing about Thanksgiving.
I failed to mention we will have like a broccoli casserole thing.
Oh,
That one's really good. And then
yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm the only one in this grouping that will be here that appreciates the homemade cornbread stuffing dressing. Excuse me. And it's a lot of effort for me to go through to make that and then be the only one that wants to eat it. So I said, you know what? Sure. Do the stovetop stuffing. I'll
Miss Prater's does a fine job. If you want to substitute and still get the vibe of the homemade cornbread stuffing.
it's like the stovetop brand red box chicken
Yeah.
stovetop stuffing.
Yeah, it has its place.
It's fine because you know what? I've made the dressing my great grandmother's way and it's fantastic and I love it. But again, it's a lot of work. And I'm again with this group, I'm the only one that appreciates it. So it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm gonna miss it,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna waste my time.
I grew up with that, and I still remember my mom baking cornbread, 2 or 3 days before. Just this giant bowl of cornbread that she's baked and is cut up and getting ready to then make the dressing that her mom made, that I'm sure my grandmother's mom made, In one of the pans I have, one of my favorite pans was my grandmother's pan. And I distinctly remember eating several things out of that pan, but one of them was that Thanksgiving dressing. So I'm there with you, but I've let it go too because I'm never going to learn to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's tough for my mom too now, and my wife does make a really good dressing that she loves talking about it because she just made it on a whim. I think many years ago when she was at Eastern, I think it was a Rachel Ray recipe or something, and she made it one year for one of our early Thanksgivings in our marriage when we hosted, and my mom and I loved it so much we've just been requesting it every year when she feels like making it. It's got a breakfast sausage in it, really nice, and apples, and I mean,
In the dressing?
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, think how much you enjoy sausage balls. So it's not. I mean, obviously, it's not the same thing, but you get a lot of the same. I don't know. It rolls, man. It works. It's super good.
That sounds good. No, yeah, this recipe that my grandmother made, I don't remember. I think great grandmother. It's like the Martha White cornbread mix. That like you preheat the oven, you preheat the pan with like Crisco in it.
You're already off to a good start with Crisco.
And then you drop the cornbread batter into the hot pan and then put it back in. But there's so much vegetable prep with the celery and parsley and onions and cooking all that stuff down, and then you crumble that into the vegetables. And she wouldn't serve like the pan of dressing. They would be there'd be dressing balls. So she would then get out,
Wow.
form it into little balls, and I say little. It'd be like a 9x13 pan. There'd be 12 of them in there. So they're good, like fist size.
Softball.
Yeah. Anyway, so no, we have a robust, traditional but robust lineup of Thanksgiving fare. What about you guys? I know you said you're going to do it on a Saturday afterwards, but
yes, I'm just still remarking about how incredible your spread sounds. Yes, we will be out of town Tuesday through Friday, going to Big Bend. I am in charge of cooking the meals at night, so I will be grilling chicken fajitas one night. We got hamburgers another night. I've got some Conecuh sausage I'm going to throw on at some point for breakfast, probably that first night, just to kind of have it cooked up and ready. And then I think we're just doing hot dogs one night too, which is, can't go wrong with that. So I'm looking forward to just, it's my own fault, really. I haven't made time to grill over the past 6 months like I normally do. I'm telling myself it's because I've been too busy, but I think it's just because I've been too lazy. When I'm home, I'm just like, you know what? No. I haven't been home very much on the weekends, so I'm not going to deal with that. But I'm looking forward to that this week. And then on Saturday, as you mentioned, my mother-in-law is going to host Thanksgiving this year, and we just get to kind of show up. So we'll observe Thanksgiving on Saturday. I can't even tell you what all's going to be there. I just know I will be there. There will be pumpkin pie. There will be festivities. That's all I know. I'm not really sure what she's making. I'm kind of purposefully staying out of it because I want to just show up and go, oh, wow. There's this. She makes a mean deviled egg. So you mentioned that earlier, and that's the one thing I secretly hope she's making, but I'm not going to say a word at this point because I don't want to be that guy whose mother-in-law is making probably 13 things. Oh, are you making deviled eggs? And well, no, but
now you said
now
something.
she feels like she's obligated to. So yeah, I'm not gonna say a word and just silently hope that there's some gonna be there, and I'm gonna enjoy whatever is there, no matter what. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be just kind of I'll have an instant reaction to the West Virginia game and the Thanksgiving spread
because you would have just had it, yeah.
Saturday night so everybody stay tuned for that. I'm sure.
Okay, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Are you a Thanksgiving dinner? Like, is it like early dinner, late lunch, or are you like when is your Thanksgiving meal? When do you eat it? Do you sit down at noon for like a lunch? Is it dinner, or is it somewhere in between?
Typically, we lean towards noon. I know that it can drift into the 2 o'clock range or so, but that's really about it. Like the 12 to 2 range. That's kind of typically where we are because we will then eat leftovers that night and definitely all day next day. But yeah, we've traditionally been a lunch-ish crowd. What about you guys?
So I definitely grew up in that like 2 o'clock was like a fairly standard and maybe even like on the early side. Because we would have like a lot of things like deviled eggs and like a bigger breakfast or whatever to kind of hold you over. I'm married into a family that's like, we're going to have it at lunchtime. It's going to be noon. And that's okay with me. It just makes the juggling of the cooking space a little more well defined.
Yeah.
If we're having turkey at noon, then it's got to be off out of the cooker, whatever it's been cooked in, 11, 15. It's got to be done by then, so it's got to rest.
So you're going overnight, aren't you? On the smoker.
because I
Well, with
think
you spatchcock it, it may not have to take as long.
I think I've seen, I haven't done a whole lot of research, and this is going to be downfall here. I'm going to spatchcock. I'm going to snap it open and lay it flat. I think I've seen those can go at about 3 hours.
Oh, are you going 350 or something? Or
I think it was 300 for 3 hours.
okay,
'Cause
okay,
I don't want like a very heavy smoked
yeah.
turkey. So I'm gonna go a little bit higher temperature to cook it faster. I did get a bag of like a fruit blend, so it's not gonna be as a heavy smoke flavor. I'm gonna have to dig out some of the the competition blend that's in there now, to make room, make sure that it gets the fruit down in there. But um, yeah, I have to figure out cook times, and I'm probably like I'll probably be ready to roll. I probably can have it as ready as early as like 7 to go on the smoker.
Yeah, the more you think about it, I think traditionally, and I'm not sure if my wife just adapted to us or what, but we shoot for lunch. We shoot for lunch on Christmas too.
Okay.
It's just all kind of lunchtime because then we like to lay around, watch movies, take naps, and then wake up and eat again.
Eat it again.
Yeah. And then people go home after that, after dinner time, leftovers or something.
I said I had 2 questions. I can't remember the second one. Did I ask you 2 questions?
No, I was wondering. You only asked me the one about the times.
Are you okay? The other question, I just like. Okay, so turkey, is it turkey and ham, or just turkey, or are you like old enough and done it enough like it doesn't have to be turkey anymore?
Oh,
We
it
can do
does.
whatever we want.
Yeah, we traditionally lean towards turkey. I mean, and like I said, I have no idea what my mother-in-law's doing on Saturday, and it does not matter to me. It could be cheeseburgers, and I would be thrilled. But when we're hosting, we traditionally do still go with turkey for Thanksgiving, but I'm pretty open. And like what I think I've mentioned this before, Christmas is an absolute free for all. It's great. We just do whatever the heck we want at Christmas. We get the turkey out of the way at Thanksgiving. Christmas can be ham, it can be prime rib, it can be beef tenderloin, it could be I don't know, it could be turkey again if somebody wanted it. It could be brisket, it could be all sorts of things. So Christmas is the time where we just kind of do whatever we want. Yeah, Thanksgiving traditionally we stick with the turkey. And I usually smoke it when I'm cooking it. Not usually. If I'm cooking it, I smoke it. But we've also had some really good ones from Rudy's and from Honey Baked Ham. Makes a really good turkey that's pre-sliced, and it's got like this. Would you be surprised it's a honey glaze? Anyway, it's really good. That's another one. If you're looking for one to get, which probably if you're looking for one to get on the Monday of Thanksgiving, it might be too late, but maybe worth a shot. Are you open to whatever? I mean, I like all these traditional foods and I like to have them, and I probably cling to that a little bit more than I think I do, but it doesn't the older I get, the less it matters as much.
I have I have a narrow window of traditional foods that I like expect there to be. Turkey has got to be there for Thanksgiving. If you want to add a ham, like if we have a big enough crowd, yeah, sure. There are a small number of sides that I expect to be there, dressing or stuffing or whatever you want to call it. Some kind of green bean, something or another, mashed potatoes and gravy. Past that, we can start bringing in like the yams or sweet potatoes, whatever. We've done like the shredded potato hash brown ranch thing. The recipe, I think we've called it like crack potatoes, but it's like a ranch and bacon and cream cheese and something. Mac and cheese is hard to beat. Cranberry sauce, cranberry jelly, whatever your fancy is. I'm good with either. Married into a family that loves the canned stuff, and I don't mind it. I prefer pumpkin pie, but if there are both pumpkin and pecan, I will have both.
Oh, yes, 100%.
I would be disappointed if there was just pecan. But so
Yeah, that is one thing. I don't think my mother-in-law likes pumpkin pie, but I do, and my daughter does, of all things, and my mom likes making it. And so that was the one of the things she said, well, why don't you, because mom's, she's dying to bring something. We'll make some pumpkin pie. So her and my daughter made 4 of them today. I think there's a couple in our freezer. I might take one with me to Big Bend. I don't know. One of my
Nice.
favorite things during all of this stuff is having pumpkin pie for breakfast. Such an underrated thing.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, again, this is a different brother-in-law, but this is my wife's oldest sister's husband, goes all out and makes a bunch of pies for Thanksgiving. And home makes all of it, the pecan and pumpkin pies. And like probably makes a dozen of them. Now, granted, when there's 24 of us that are coming over to his house, like there's too many pies anyways, but we've also found, I can't remember if it's Costco or Sam's, but their store made pies are dang good too. I think it's Costco. Yeah, they're pumpkin and pecan pies. Anyways, I won't remember what the other question was, but maybe it had to do with pies.
Possibly. It always does. It always comes back to pies.
All right, one last thing. Let's wrap up with what did we learn, Michael?
Okay.
What did you learn?
Oh, sorry, I was waiting for the drop. So for the second time in the last month or two, we ordered Fajita Pete's. Again, no free ads. And Fajita Pete's it's on Milwaukee, which is pretty far west of where I live, but they deliver. And it's
What?
Right? For free or whatever it is, I don't know. But they have a meal that's made for, I think, 2 people, or 2 to 4, I forget what it says, but it comes with a chicken quesadilla. You get your choice of fajita meat with the grilled veggies with it. You get pico, sour cream, refried beans, rice, salsa, queso, chips, and tortillas, delivered to your door for less than $50. And our family of 3 eats on it for 2 meals. And so we've done that twice on college football Saturdays.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's stellar. It really works, because you're just, man, we've been to 2 basketball games today, or we've been to Burl Huffman, we've been to the soccer fields. Man, I reek of dirt and sunscreen. I got to take a shower, and then, oh wait, fajitas are just going to show up. Queso's just going to show up
here on my
at the house
kitchen counter.
I don't have to do anything. Yeah, I just have to, wear my pajamas basically and eat fajitas. Okay. So anyway, that's something we've really enjoyed a couple of times the last few weeks. We had it again on Saturday, and I thought, man, I don't know if I've brought this up, but if you have, I think it's a chain, so it's not like a,
I just looked
a
them
crazy
up.
thing.
The closest one to me though is in Houston.
Ooh, yeah, that's a ways away.
3.5 hours.
Well, shoot, maybe the one in Lubbock on Milwaukee will deliver to you. I don't know. They deliver pretty far east.
We will be up there in the Lubbock area the week of Christmas.
Who?
But we have enough things planned out
I was about to
food-wise and
say.
things that we miss that we probably won't be trying anything new.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
no, I think that's as good as it's been. You need to hit the staples and the standards.
Yeah, for sure, like Taco Villa, which is weird to say, like, but that's
No.
one thing my kids have been missing in Samantha.
That's not weird at
Um,
all. Where else are you gonna get heart-shaped chips? Chips.
I
Nowhere.
don't know, man. They're
That's
good.
where.
Probably won't make it to Cap Rock because I'm the only one in the family that likes Cap Rock, but maybe I can get them to swing Orlando's.
That'll work. That'll work.
Yeah. I brought it up pre-recording with Michael, but like it's been a very informative week, eye-opening week here with the old job front. I've learned a lot about that in my I won't even go into detail, but I'm speaking remotely. A weird time for all this to happen. I'm speaking to a Texas Tech class on Monday the 1st. Ironically, it's a professionalism and media and communications class. And I connected with this professor because my last semester as an undergrad was her first semester teaching. And before we moved, I was rejoining the PRSA chapter there. I was getting active, and she was there. And I went up and talked to her. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I remember you." Because I remember having, not that I was an outstanding student or was remarkable in any way, but like she remember it was a small class, and she's like, "I remember most of the people from that first class." She's like, "Hey, I have this professionalism class. Do you want to speak in it?" I was like, "Sure." Yes. Yeah, now I do. And then I moved away and I was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I'm no longer there." She's like, "We'll do it over Zoom or whatever." I was like,
Oh, wow.
"Cool."
Okay.
I mean, we'll make it work. It's coming up. It was actually supposed to be a couple weeks ago. We had a big event. So I'm like, "Hey, I hate to do this. I got to reschedule." But all that to say, just another thing to talk to the young budding minds of tomorrow's professionals, like things to be mindful of in the workforce.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got some recent examples that you can
Not everything is
generically
what
apply.
Not everything is permanent. You don't have to love everything. You can learn to stick things out and fulfill commitments, and
That can be rewarding.
yeah,
Not
like
always. It's not always rewarding, but it can be.
you got to find the balance of like sticking things out and being a professional and doing your job, and also looking out for you.
All true things.
Nobody at my current employer listens to this, but I'm not going to say anything else. Or any. No, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah, like I said, it's been a revelatory week here in the Rogers household in a professional manner. So with that, we'll call it good on this episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. It's been 2 hours of us getting you ready for the West Virginia matchup on Saturday. Where Texas Tech lands and projects out, we'll know Friday night or Saturday afternoon for the Big 12 title game. Basketball coming up this week. But until then, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. For Michael, I'm Clinton. Thank you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.